All right, hello everyone, this is Mr. Crozier. I'm going to help you with your practice quiz today. First thing you got to do is know the angles on the side are in degrees. So we're working with 360 degrees in a circle, not 2 pi. So make a table of this, and we have a sine graph, which is mid, max, mid, mid, mid. We have the y values, which are 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0, and we have to do our period in here. Well, a normal period is 360 divided by 30 is 12. So I just did 0 to 12. The middle here is 6. Middle is 3 and 9. Now I change the y values based on multiplying them by 2. So I multiply them all by 2. Then I subtracted 4. And you'll have these values. Table is done. You don't have to make the graph. All right, on the next problem, we're going to do the same thing but with a cosine. And cosine goes 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1. Those are the words. And this one, however, has a phase shift. This graph is starting at x plus 10. And usually we start at 0, so when I solve this equation, it's negative 10. So this has a phase shift right there, so it's starting at negative 10. All right, well, what is the length of the period? Well, 360 divided by 15 is 24. So I start at negative 10 plus 24 makes 14. So this distance from here, top to bottom, is plus 24. That's one length of one period. Now we just find the middles, and to find the middles, you take the top and the bottom, add them together, divide by 2. And if I want to find the middle here, 2 plus 14 divided by 2. The middle there, negative 10 plus 2 divided by 2. So we have the middles. And then again, times them by 7, add 2, you'll have those values. All right, when you're doing the graphs down at the bottom, we have this graph here, and it tells you where the midline is. So the midline there is negative 3. So if you can see out here, I drew this midline at negative 3. And then the maximum's negative 1, and the minimum's negative 5. So there's our values. Negative 3, negative 1, 5. Mid, max, and min. And now all you have to do is draw your periods in here. And it goes from 0 to 18. So 0 to 18. And it may be helpful. I'm going to scale these all to 36 to keep it easy. This is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 22, 24, 28, 32. So it may be helpful just to put these numbers on the scale so you get everything in the right spot. And there's 18. So I'm here at 18. And then if I add on 18, I'm at 36. And if I subtract 18, I'm at 0. Then I subtract 18, I'm at negative 18. Then I subtract 18, I'm at negative 36. And then the value starts at the max, and then it goes down. So I start at negative 1, negative 3, negative 5, negative 3, 1. And I just follow that. It's like a cosine graph. Down at the bottom, same thing. The mid values are 1. The minimum is negative 3. The maximum up here is at 5. And look how close this goes. It goes from 4 to 16. Here's 0, 4, 8, 12, 16. Here's the period from 4 to 16. And that is a shift of up 12. And then if I add 12 again, I'm at 28. And you can find that position. And if I add 12 again, I'm off the graph. And if I go back 12, I'm at negative 8 right here. And I go back another 12, I'm at negative 20. So you're just counting by 12s each time. And then go ahead and put the graph in there. In this graph, it starts here, then it goes down to the minimum, then up, and then up to the maximum. So this is an upside down sine graph. All right, on the back. Now you have some graphs in there in radians. So we're working with 2 pi for a circle. Well, we have an amplitude of 4. We have a period of 2 pi divided by this b value right here. So it's 2 pi divided by pi, which is 2. There is no phase shift because there is no c value. And the midline is 3. This is the d value out here that's being added on. So to start your graph, you start with this midline. There's the midline of 3. And then you go up 4, so I'm at 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 puts me to 7. And I go down 4 to -1. And then the period is 2, so from there to there. And I go down and up for a cosine. And then over here I go to -2, and I go down and up, same thing there. So get your line set up with your mid, min, max, and then put your wave in there. And make sure you have these numbers on here: 2, -2, 7, 3, 1. All right, at the bottom one, well, amplitude is 1, but it's reflected, so I made a note of that. The period is 2 pi divided by 1, because there's a b value of 1. And the phase shift is a -pi/3, because remember x plus 3, or x plus pi/3 needs to be 0, so x would be -pi/3. And that's my phase shift, and it's to the left. So here's that value, -pi/3. And the midline is -2. So start by drawing the -2, then go up 1 to -1, down 1 to -3. And now we're going to put in here a sine wave, and the period is 2 pi. So I'm going to start here at pi/3. Pi/3 plus 2 pi is 5 pi/3. So from here to here, it's 5 pi/3, which is a period of 2 pi. Now what I did was I measured this and I said, look, it's about 4.5 centimeters to right there. So then I just turned around and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit more right there. So try and get these two waves the same, and you just subtract 2 pi. -pi/3 minus pi/6, or 6 pi/3 is -7. So make sure you have these values. 5 pi/3 is the ending. There's that one, and the one in the middle there. And it goes up to -1, down to -3. All right, last one's on the graph. We have to come up with this equation. So the standard form of your equation is always, I'm going to write it right here, y is equal to a sine or cosine b x minus c plus d. All right, well, this graph tells you it starts at 0, so I put this starting line at 0. Then it goes up and down, so that's definitely a sine wave. Now the midline can be found by just looking at the middle as -3. There is no c value, so there's nothing inside the parentheses. And let's see the max. How far is it from -3 to 1 and -3 to 5? Well, that's a difference of 2. So it goes up and down, and it goes up 2 from the midline. So everything's good except this b value, which is tricky. And the way you figure the b value out is to say 2 pi is a normal period divided by b, and it's going to give you 4, because that's my period length. From this red line to this red line is 4 for a period. That's how far the wave is. Top to bottom and back is 4. So 2 pi divided by b is 4. Well, multiply the b over, divide by 4. I have 2 pi over 4, pi over 2. And on the last problem here, we do the same thing, but we're starting at -2. So that changes this to look like this. The middle is 1. And if I go up 3 and down 3, that's the amplitude. Now if I draw these lines, that is an upside down cosine wave, so it's negative. The only question is, what is the b value? Well, 2 pi divided by b is the period. And look at this period. It starts here and it goes to there. And that distance right there is exactly 2 pi. In this one, the distance was 4. And this one, from -pi/2 to 3 pi/2, that is a distance of +2 pi. That's how far it moves there. And if you want to figure that out, you could just write down -2 pi plus something's going to give me 3 pi. add that over there, and you will figure out that it's 4 pi over 2, which is 2 pi. So 2 pi divided by b is 2 pi. Well, b must be 1, so that's why there's a 1 here in front of that. All right, again, to wrap up, the a, b, and the d you can see, or sorry, the a, c, and d you can see in the graph. The b takes this work right here. And the work is simply 2 pi divided by b is the period length. All right, hope this helps for your quiz.